The Kaduna State House of Assembly has recommended that the immediate past governor of the state, Nasir El-Rufai, be prosecuted for alleged abuse of office and money laundering in his administration. Presenting his report at plenary, the chairman of the ad hoc committee set up by the House, Honorable Zachariah, said most of the loans obtained under the El-Rufai administration did not follow due process and were not used for the purposes for which they were obtained. The committee alleged that a total of 423 billion naira was siphoned by the El-Rufai administration while leaving the state with huge liabilities. The committee accused El-Rufai of breaching his oath of office and failing to exercise due discretion in the administration of the state, thereby plunging Kaduna into unwanted, unjustified, and fraudulent domestic and foreign debts over and above the total loans obtained by Kaduna State from 1965 to 1999. But in a swift reaction to the committee's report, El-Rufai dismissed the allegation as scandalous, saying he served the state with integrity. Joining us now on this show as we review the decision of the committee is Honorable Marah Zachariah, Chairman, House Committee on Information and NGOs, Kaduna State House of Assembly. Honorable Zachariah, good morning and thank you for joining us. Good morning. Hello, Honorable Zachariah.
Good morning, Mr. Abati.
Very good. Thank you for joining us. Well,
good morning.
Very quickly. We know the story. The House says the El-Rufai administration stole the state blind, worse than whatever was recorded between 1965 and 1999. And that it was not just the governor who betrayed his oath of office and lacked discretion, but that heads of agencies, parastatals were also complicit. Your report, your committee report, is calling for the governor, former governor that is, the heads of parastatals, the heads of agencies, that is, the accountant general, the auditor general, the commissioners of finance during the period, the special advisor and counselor, Jimmy Lawal, and the special advisor, media, all of these persons are to be investigated by the law enforcement agencies. On his side, former Governor Nasir El-Rufai says this is political witch hunt, jaundice report, scandalous report, and that he's very proud of the legacy that he left behind, and that he served the state of Kaduna with integrity. All of this is more than 24, 48 hours. Where are we right now? What response has the House received from the law enforcement agencies? And indeed, Governor El-Rufai said his commissioners, heads of agencies under him, they were very confident and they came and interacted with the ad hoc committee because they know that they did nothing wrong. Do you think they have been given fair hearing? And what has been the response from the law enforcement agencies? Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Abati. It's a pleasure talking to you this morning. Talking about integrity, people with integrity don't find themselves in questionable circumstances or surround themselves with people with questionable characters. As a matter of fact, some of the people that were mentioned in the report who served under his government are people, okay, like for instance, Jimmy Lawal. Jimmy Lawal was the MD of Alpha Merchant Bank who grounded that bank. He was sentenced in absentia. As a matter of fact, Sahara reporters described him as a serial fraudster. Are these the kind of people you surround yourself and you call yourself a man of integrity? A man of integrity should say something and do it. He went to African Development Bank, collected a loan of $130 million to revamp the transport system in Kaduna State. Come to Kaduna State and show me what transport system was done. They used that slogan, collect this money, and diverted it to other use. He collected $62 million from Islamic Development Bank to boost education in Kaduna State. Well, they were able to build 6 science secondary schools across the state. Outside that, what else do we have to show for the money? So you cannot be claiming to be a man of integrity while your action is showing otherwise. And besides, if you are responsible enough, you will not do actions or take actions that will mortgage the future of your people in a manner where they will barely survive. And then some of this money is collected for some of these projects were not judiciously used. Else, when you come to Kaduna State today, out of 100%, the monies they collected for these projects, you could see that they only executed just about 40% of these projects. They will paint them, bring social media, and show the whole world they are working. But a larger percentage of these works are left undone. When you come to the streets of Kaduna today, you will see so many of these roads. In fact, the road that was named after him on the day of handing over, former Marah Road, it has not been completed. And the contractors have abandoned site. This is one among so many other roads that we have. When you go to Zachariah, whenever it rains, there's so much flooding because of these abandoned road projects. When you go to Kafanchan, whenever it rains, people who are using motorcycles keep falling off the road because that road project has been on for 5 years, it has not been completed. Now, where are the monies meant for all these roads? These monies were collected 100%. All right. Now, talking about integrity, do you know, when you check the records, you will see that immediately he was sworn in 2019 for the second time, the 8th Senate rejected that loan bid. Immediately when he was sworn in May 2019 for his second time in office, he drew down about $170 million from that loan in the World Bank, even before approval came from the National Assembly. Like Peter Obi will say, you can verify that.
All right.
So men of integrity don't cut corners.
All right.
You obtain this loan without formal approval, because it was after COVID in 2020, around June, that the president resubmitted the loan bid to the National Assembly. And then it was subsequently approved in 2021. But they have drawn down the money since 2019. So please, this is not a matter of integrity. He is not the man of integrity. These are well-packaged lies and deceit. They sold out to the public to believe what they were doing. But in the real sense of it, they were massively, recklessly misusing our funds.
All right.
Now, talking about witch hunt, it is always normal in Nigeria today that when people commit offenses and when you are trying to ask them to come and account for their actions, they would easily just say it is political witch hunt. Who is witch hunting who? If it were political witch hunt, the executive governor of Kaduna today is one of the greatest beneficiary of his person. But for the man to say no, this thing is because the scale of the fraud is just too much. It's not something anybody want to keep quiet. As a matter of fact, even if it's your wife that was there before, you will call her to account for whatever they did.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Please, let her come here.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Zachariah. Just wanted to ask you, in furtherance of your response to his political witch hunt claim, in the last administration, when he was governor, people would say that the State House of Assembly failed in its duties as well, because you have oversight of the executive to see if projects that were given or awarded were spent according to what was asked for and not misappropriated. Now, post him leaving, we're coming out with these revelations. The Speaker of the House, Honorable Liman, is the second term. He was Speaker in the last administration as well. Why didn't the State House of Assembly begin these investigations or have proper oversight functions over the executive?
Let me start with the current speaker was not the speaker then. As a matter of fact, most part of that 9th Assembly, he was on suspension. Now, talking about looking into his books, let me tell you 2 things he did in Kaduna State. When he came on board, Madam El-Rufai threatened everybody in that state that everybody was so scared of him. If you dare challenge his government, the next thing you will see, bulldozers in front of your house bringing down your property. No one dares to challenge him. So he puts everybody on its toes. And as for members of the State House of Assembly, well, I'm not going to hold brief for them because I was not there. But I will tell you, whenever there is a government in power that are executing projects, you don't begin to question them of anything, because then when he was in office, you could see the contractors on site. Now, problem happened when he left office, all these contractors moved out of sight and disappeared completely. You see, if this had happened during their time, probably they would have been questioning him. But because they were still doing skeletal work, they were still working, you could see activities going on, you will think, okay, it is still work in progress. And of course, you don't get to probe work in progress, except if there's a report coming up. So that was one of the challenges they had. So at that time, they were all watching. And I can tell you, all of them were also, some of them could not even muzzle up the courage to challenge him because of the dire consequences they are going to face.
Okay, Honorable Zachariah.
Of course, nobody wants his house demolished.
Honorable Zachariah, I put it to you that your State House of Assembly is not being fair to El-Rufai. And I'll give you empirical facts. Because if you are going to be fair to El-Rufai, you should also put Governor Sani in this boat with El-Rufai. The 350 million loan that the El-Rufai administration secured after 3 senators from Kaduna opposed the request, Sani was instrumental in securing that loan at the 8th Senate. Yes or no? Yes or no? Is it true or false?
Yes.
So it is true?
It is true.
Okay. I'm done with my question.
Okay, let me just point out.
All right, but to be fair, you need to also allow me to say something on that.
Go ahead.
Rufai.
Yeah.
Sani, before these loans will be collected, it has to pass through the National Assembly as prescribed by our laws. Now, when you see how they packaged the projects they packaged for these loans, you will believe it is for the good people of the state. Sani is a senator. He was not in the administration at that time. He did not participate in signing any contract. He did not participate in executing any of these projects. And for Christ's sake, you can guarantee anybody or recommend anybody for a job. You've done that several times. But when you recommend somebody or guarantee somebody, it is not enough for that person to go and abuse the privileges of that office, and then they want to hold you responsible for it. He did that out of goodwill. Because if they had completed the whole project they wanted to use this money for, frankly speaking, Kaduna State would have been better off for it. It was the design, they packaged it so well, as if it was for the good of the people of the state. But at the end of the day, they misused the money. That was why in my preambles, I said, an example was that they took $130 million US. Mr. Rufai, you can verify that. They took $30 million to revamp transportation system in Kaduna State. Come to Kaduna State today. Nothing about transportation has been done. So it was just a make-believe. It was deceit to get these monies and divert them. So I don't want to, we cannot bring man over. And then besides, his signature is not on any of the documents to show that he did any contract or he signed for anything. He is a senator. He did it out of goodwill. So if you will permit me, I will say, let us excuse him out of this matter. He did that out of goodwill for the good of the people of the state. But that was abused. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's look at all of this. These are allegations. They have not yet been proven. So don't speak as if, Nasir Rufai has already been crucified. I asked you the question, where are we with the intervention of the law enforcement agencies that the House at plenary is requesting for? Or the law enforcement agencies are not interested? Because if they don't get into the matter, nothing will come out of it. The second part of it is the political side of it. You will recall that Mohammed El-Rufai, I think that's the name of the son of the former governor who is in the House of Representatives.
Bello Bashir.
Yeah, Bello El-Rufai, yes.
Bello El-Rufai.
Yeah, he intervened and he said, look, that the Speaker of the House of Assembly is a disappointment because he could not understand how somebody that his own father and he himself helped to become Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly is the one now setting up an ad hoc committee to label his father. Where are we with that Mohammed Bello El-Rufai factor? And number 3, where is the governor in all of this? Because apart from what the ad hoc committee has done, there are political sides to it in terms of all the political connections in Kaduna State. But first, let's start with what the law enforcement agencies are saying, because they can as well just ignore your report and say you have no issue, because they are basically allegations.
Thank you, Mr. Abati. Well, we will say they are alleged issues because it is only the competent court of law that can pass judgment on this. But to be fair, Mr. Abati, we have the documents of these loans that were collected and the purpose for which they were collected. It is a fact. No bank will give you money like that. You have to state what you use the money for. Now, we are waiting for them to respond to this allegation so that we will now bring out these documents and show the whole world, okay, you collected money for this purpose, why didn't you use it for that purpose? That is just what we are saying. Well, as for the law enforcement agent, unfortunately for us as legislators, our duties is very simple. We have concluded our own part of the story. We don't have the power to prosecute. We have made our recommendations, and then we have asked the clerk of the assembly to forward our recommendations to the executives, and the same day, the reports were equally forwarded to the EFCC and the ICPC. It is left for the people of the state and the people of Nigeria to demand and put pressure on them to do the needful. As for the political side of it, it is because we always think of second term. I want to win elections today, I want to win elections tomorrow. And it is depriving us from doing what it is rightfully to be done. I just told you something, sir. It could be, I don't know how we voted for the speaker. He sat with us, he requested for our support, and we unanimously supported him to become our speaker. If they say they help him to become speaker, I don't know what they mean by that, but whether they help him or not, whatever that is wrong, irrespective of who is involved. So you cannot see a wrongdoing and you keep quiet in the name of you help me to become speaker. And besides, the whole idea of this probe did not emanate from the table of the speaker. If you go through the activities of the assembly, it even started from a motion that was moved on the floor of the house. We started it from there. And then the governor unanimously held a town hall meeting in March this year, or precisely 30th March, where he called the stakeholders of the state to explain to them the situation of the state. So it was as a result of that town hall meeting, that was when there was pressure that no, if this is the case, the House of Assembly must look into these books and then call everybody that is involved to come and answer for it. They came. From the documents available, we don't speak from the air. We speak from documents available. They withdrew $30 billion from the account of the state internal revenue. And it was not tied to any project. They unanimously withdrew $1.4 million from the account of the Kaduna State government without anything tied to it. These are monies that were withdrawn and nothing, you will not see it tied down to anything.
All right.
It is there on the record.
Okay.
If we wait for them to come up and tell us it is a lie or it is no, then we will bring out those documents and tender it as evidence.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Zachariah. I hear you, and I still go back to my first question, because what we are trying to avoid, and the reason I'm asking this is because we don't want at the end of 4 years, 8 years, you come back and you want to probe the governor for withdrawing money without approval or without being tied to a project. And so prevention is quite key. Because this, if in the event that this allegation is proven to be true, it is robbing the people of 423 billion naira. A lot of things would have been done in Kaduna with that amount of money. So how do we strengthen the structures? When you say that the State House of Assembly is afraid of the governor, that's an indictment. You're afraid of the governor, you cannot ask him questions, you're afraid of your houses being demolished and things like that. Are you saying that the executive is more powerful than the legislature in Kaduna State?
Well, that was what happened in the 9th Assembly. This time around, it is a different assembly. And I can bet you, we are not scared of anybody. And besides, the style of administration of Sani and that of El-Rufai, they are two different things apart. Sani is a complete Democrat. He was in the Senate before. He understands the importance of the legislature. He has allowed us to function without interference and hindrance. His body language is a man of peace, and he is more transparent in his handling of affairs. Now, even if he is to be like El-Rufai, in this 10th assembly, we will not hesitate to call a spade a spade. We will not hesitate to do that.
So if he becomes high-handed, and
they have their reasons why they don't do so. I told you.
If he becomes high-handed and decides to demolish houses, I mean, that's very interesting because you made that comment. And decides to intimidate the lawmakers, they would keep quiet at the expense of the Kaduna citizens who voted them in, and allow money to be frittered away according to the allegations.
Unfortunately, most of us in the House of Assembly, we are new, and we don't even have houses in Kaduna for anybody to come and
yet.
So you see, we are going to do our job without fear of intimidation and harassment. You can hold me for that.
Okay, two things.
All right.
Probably the reason why it was not also investigated then was this draconian Section 308 that gives immunity to governors, which I think should be scrapped from our constitution and public office holders like presidents and all of that. Really, our country is not ripe for that. You didn't hear my first question properly. It was a very technical question. I said, in the 8th assembly, mark my words.
9th.
8th assembly first. Yes, just follow my sequence. 3 Kaduna senators opposed the $350 million loan for El-Rufai. In the 9th assembly, Governor Sani secured the same loan that 3 Kaduna senators opposed in the 8th assembly. Would you say Governor Sani made an error of judgment?
No, I wouldn't say he made an error of judgment.
Why? Because three senators opposed that same loan. Then he, in the 9th assembly, he secured the same loan the 3 senators opposed. Then now, he's now back to say those loans were problematic that he himself helped secure after some senators opposed. And you do not think he did make an error of judgment?
Rufai, let us not lay emphasis on Sani. The law said that at least 2 senators. So he alone.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Rufai Sani, when you say Sani, the law says at least 2 senators out of the 3 should agree. So only him couldn't have assented to that loan. Only him couldn't have done that. They probably were to be 2. And if 2 of them agreed, don't forget, when they refused to, when the 8th assembly rejected that loan, Man of Natural El-Rufai made sure that the 2 senators never returned to the chambers. That is the senator representing Zone 1, that is Suleiman Hunkuyi, and then Senator Shehu Sani. He made sure they never returned. He brought his own people to come on board. Now, when they came on board, they helped him to secure the loan.
Was hang on a minute, was Sani part of his own people he brought on board? Yes or no?
In the 8th assembly, yes. In the 9th assembly, no.
Okay, so Sani was his guy.
When he secured the loan, Sani was not part of his government.
Okay, so Sani was part of the people that he brought to be able to secure the loan. So he was his guy, so he brought him along. So the same decision that the other senators decided to lose their senatorial position because they know it was a bad judgment was the same decision Sani endorsed. And now Sani is saying that that loan is problematic.
Rufai, let me say this. Let me say this, sir. Let me say this clearly. I can't hear.
Go ahead. I can hear you. The world can hear you.
No, I cannot. Okay. Thank you very much. When you see, like what I said earlier, the 8th assembly probably have their own reason why they rejected the loan. It could also be political or whatever it is. But when you see the content of this loan, if they had implemented it, it would have boosted the economy of Kaduna State. Let us not forget, in Nigeria today, Lagos State has the highest amount of indebtedness to foreign banks. But you see, the Lagos State converted that loan for the good of the people of Lagos State. Nobody is saying that taking of loan is bad. What we are saying is that the loan was abused. And honestly, Sani can never be responsible for that. So whoever took that loan and abused it should be questioned why he abused the loan. He did it out of goodwill. And as a matter of fact, if Sani does not like the people of Kaduna State, he will even frustrate this probe. He will not even allow this probe to see the light of the day. But because he is equally concerned and worried on the manner with which this loan was used, that is why he told the people of the state, and then this whole probe thing is going on. If he was his guy, as you are putting it, if he was his guy, probably this probe will not even be on ground in the first place. So I want you to even salute him for having the courage to speak out against his former boss.
Oga Henry,
yes, sir.
Guy men they fight.
Yes, Mr. Rufai.
And when Guy men fight, everything they scatter. Dr. Bati, over to you.
Okay,
I think we went
before you go, will it be correct to say that, no, will it be correct to say that what we are having in Kaduna State is slightly similar to what is going on in River State? If it is true that Nasir El-Rufai fighting some of his perceived enemies helped Sani to become governor, now that there is a trailer that has passed between the godfather and the godson, which even the People's Democratic Party in Kaduna State say, yes, Sani was probed his predecessor. This is, in real terms, about politics, about godfather-godson relationship going all right.
What I have to say is that the situation in Kaduna and River State is not similar, in the sense that in River State there is probably an interference by the former governor in the activities of this present government. But as a matter of fact, to be fair to Malam Nasir El-Rufai, since he left office, I don't think there has been any interference in the affairs of this present government, to be fair to him. Malam El-Rufai is not competing with him on anything. The only time we're having this challenge is because, and then to be fair to Malam Nasir El-Rufai, we are not accusing him because you will not see his name or signature on any of the documents they collected this money. We are not saying he took any money. If you check our recommendations, in areas where he was found wanting, we stated it clearly. It's possible, like the way Buhari said, he was surprised with the level of corruption in his administration. It's possible El-Rufai did not know anything about it. So those who are involved, those whose names are involved, those who did these withdrawals, by the time they bring them for further investigation and questioning, then if he is involved, we will now say, we are calling his name today because he is the head of that government. It was his government. He formed that government. He brought them to come and help him. So wherever they are found wanting, when they are investigated proper, if he's the one that instructed them to do it or they took whatever they took to him, that is where we will get to know. But to be fair to him, we are not accusing him with nobody called his name for anything. It is his government. And then where he did not follow due process, his own is that he did not follow due process.
Okay, it's clear enough.
Approvals, sometimes he doesn't wait to get approval, or he doesn't get approval. He goes ahead to do whatever he thinks he wants to do. So he has his own areas where, in our recommendations, we stated clearly he should be called upon to answer questions based on that.
Honorable Zachariah, I think it's clear enough. But one APC government fighting
thank you, Mr.
a preceding APC government. But I get your point. You say it's possible Nasir El-Rufai may not have known anything about what he did, what was done under his administration. So he probably was sleepwalking for 8 years and he knew nothing. So maybe he was a somnambulist governor. Maybe that's the point you want to prove. But thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.